From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm John Kennedy. Federal Heritage Minister Pascal Saint-Onge says the federal inquiry into foreign interference has heard from her a robust media industry is important in fighting disinformation in political campaigns. She testified that she believes local media is especially important at combating disinformation about particular candidates during times of election. The commission heard earlier from former Public Safety Minister Bill Blair, who said he had no knowledge about delays in approving a CSIS warrant in 2021. Federal Trade Minister Mary Ng says she has full confidence in Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as word begins to spread late yesterday about a growing revolt against his leadership within the Liberal caucus.
CBC News reported that a number of MPs had meetings over the last several days in Trudeau's absence, pushing each other to commit to call for his resignation. Ng said she's disappointed to read about the idea that some of her caucus colleagues are working to oust Trudeau. Lisa Laporte, The Canadian Press.
The lawyer for the family of Miles Gray says a disciplinary report absolved 7 police officers in the beating death of Gray, but it was flawed. Ian Donaldson says the misconduct allegations against the 7 Vancouver police officers in the 2015 beating death of Gray was based on a flawed process that failed to consider key evidence that arose from a coroner's inquest. Donaldson says he doesn't accept that the officers were cleared. Solemn commemorations of Yom Kippur began last night at sundown. The holiest day in the Jewish calendar is being marked in Tel Aviv, where hundreds gathered in Hostages Square to pray for those kidnapped during the October 7th attack by Hamas militants. Shay Dickman is the cousin of a hostage who was killed while in captivity.
For me, personally, I lost my cousin this year. Carmel, my beautiful cousin, was kidnapped and taken hostage a year ago.
It's unknown how many hostages in Gaza kidnapped by the militant group remain alive, but the 100 believed to be still there, but of the 100 believed to still be there, the government says about 30 are estimated to be dead. The Israeli military has rescued 8 hostages in Gaza. 105 were released during a brief negotiated ceasefire period in November. Former U.S. President Donald Trump detoured from the battleground states to visit a Colorado suburb that's been in the news over illegal immigration. At a rally in Aurora, the Republican presidential nominee told the crowd that Vice President Kamala Harris was to blame for an influx of Venezuelan migrants living there. He claimed they came from the, quote, dungeons of the third world. Trump has extensively claimed that Venezuelan gangs are taking over buildings in Colorado, even though authorities say the area is again safe and it was only a single block that had issues. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, a dramatic victory for the Winnipeg Jets. Mark Scheifele scored late in the third period and added the overtime winner, giving the Jets a 2-1 win over the Chicago Blackhawks. Philadelphia edged Vancouver 3-2 in a shootout. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers' 8-game winning streak is over after the Toronto Argonauts locked up a playoff berth with a 14-11 victory over the Bombers. The game at Princess Auto Stadium saw Toronto leapfrog Ottawa and move into second place in the East Division. Winnipeg leads the West Division standings. Canada's Adam Svensson remains in the hunt at the PGA Tour's Black Desert Championship. He followed a career-low 60 with a 69 that leaves him one shot behind leader Steven Yeager. San Francisco 49ers receiver Ricky Pearsall will soon return to the gridiron for the first time since he was shot in the chest during a robbery attempt. From the Canadian Press, I'm John Kennedy.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.